Now, it's time for a little R&R.
All into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
You know, I think the NFL is the only league in the world where the owners do more press conferences than the general managers and the coaches and the players. You hear from the owners more than you actually hear about the people who run the team, or at least are supposed to run the team. I know Jerry Jones is the general manager. We don't need to hear Mike Brown's perspective on whether you need to pay a convicted felon or not. These guys need to stop. Completely out of control. Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat. Streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X at ESPN West Palm. Also on your radio dial at ESPN 106.3. Next 2 hours, we got a packed program. We got Mike Tannenbaum joining us at 5:25. So that'll be a good time talking to him as we sort of inch closer to training camp report dates. It's different for every team. Ramping up football season next couple of weeks here. But a lot of stuff to do and a lot of fun to be had. Mike Rizzo with me at the City Place Studios. We're live in person, thank God. Mike, how are you today?
Great. Doing great. I'm looking forward to talking a little Jerry Jones, man. It's my favorite pastime. Talking about what Jerry had to say to the media. But I'm ready for football season too, Kyle. You know, Dio's at the ACC Media Day. We're 30 days out from week 0. You got a preseason game here. Coming up next week? I believe Brian Rowitz, our content director, we had a meeting today. I think he said next week that Hall of Fame game was. Anyway, he fell out of my chair. But I'm ready for football, partner, and it's good to see you here in the flesh. I'll tell you what, it's been about a week and a half?
Longer than that.
But I mean, my God, two weeks almost. And
yeah.
Granted, I was out of commission with an illness, and listen, thanks again to Christian and Theo. But God, it's good to be here in the flesh.
Christian, were you pleased about Mike Rizzo taking a hiatus because he was sick as a dog for a couple days?
No, it sucked.
Yeah.
It was a lot of freaking work.
And you didn't get any warning. Mike just kind of went down for the count, and then Christian has to take the brunt of the fall, huh?
Yeah, and then
Did you apologize to Christian?
Of course. And then he's reporting me to the FBI because I like Pokemon today.
Yeah, it's a pre-crime decision to do.
So Christian's not happy with Mike at the moment.
I could probably count on my hand the number of days Christian is happy with me at this office. So this, it's nothing new, but it's okay. We're working through it.
All right. So we're going to have a little counseling between you two. Might be in the cards at some point. Maybe we get a therapist on air and really hash this out. All right. Not bad. Well, my main takeaway, because this is the time of the year where we're breaking down why the owners, for some reason, have all this media availability. 2 owners specifically, for contract negotiation reasons. The fact that we're asking an 89-year-old and an 82-year-old owner of NFL teams about contract negotiations with a 24-year-old is pretty ridiculous to begin with, but this is where we're at. Mike Brown, the owner of the Cincinnati Bengals, and of course Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys, took to the media the last couple of days to say a variety of different things in regard to contract disputes for different reasons. Shamar Stewart is one of the final rookies, might be the final rookie in the 2025 draft class, the only remaining first-round pick to have not signed a contract yet, and it's due to allegedly language in the contract about guaranteed money and whether teams can void it in regard to whether this happens or that happens. There's a whole story, and it's a big battle back and forth with the Bengals. Classic Bengals not being able to figure it out. And then you got Jerry Jones, on the other hand, who needs to make a decision on Micah Parsons, whose contract value is just continuing to go up. He still has to answer for the crimes of the Dak Prescott contract, and he is sort of in his own little crap storm of trying to navigate contract negotiations. Now, we have a couple audios here, and I want to go to Mike Brown first. Mike Brown, who is the 89-year-old owner of the Cincinnati Bengals, was asked about this situation in terms of the contract language between rookie Shamar Stewart, defensive end out of Texas A&M, and the contract language and whether he should pay him or why, when, and if he is obligated to pay him guaranteed money. And take a listen to what Mike Brown had to say in terms of, well, why do I have to pay him if this would happen? Take a listen.
Well, if we get a player who gets involved in something like that or does something that is just unacceptable, guess what? I don't want to pay him. I really don't. If he's sitting in jail, I don't think I ought to be paying him.
So Mike Brown, the owner of the Cincinnati Bengals, says, if he's in jail, I don't want to pay him. Well, this would make sense if Shamar Stewart was in jail. As last time I checked, this gentleman is not in jail.
No.
And
I don't even think he's had a history of being in jail.
So is there a right reason? It's not necessarily, this guy's not a repeat offender as far as I can see. But that is his takeaway. If he goes to jail, I don't want to pay him. Now, if this is sort of becomes a moral thing at this point, because Shamar Stewart getting a big contract, Mike Brown willing to the contract guarantees. All these rookies want guaranteed contracts.
Right.
Guaranteed no matter what. And I guess the dispute is, hey, if I go to jail, I don't want contract voids. Or if I have legal trouble. Or if I have disciplinary action, whether maybe I'm just, speeding and I get booked and I'm not spending any time in actual jail, but I get booked, do they void my guarantees? That seems to be what this is about.
Maybe some fine print. Right. Fine print in the sense of, all right, a lot of, Colin, I've gotten traffic tickets before. Are you not going to make my contract guaranteed if I get a speeding ticket for going 10 over?
I don't know if you say, this guy's not going to, he's not going to go to jail. Hopefully, on a murder charge.
That's what I mean. But to me, that's what it sounded like. It sounded like he is assuming that their first round pick is going to head to jail for some heinous crime. I don't understand it. You do background checks on these guys. You do the interview process. You draft these players to trust them. That's why, and in the past, I've tried to defend Cincinnati in the sense of, all right, they're just trying to find a loophole maybe to save money. No, this is ridiculous. This is the Bengals, I think, maybe having scars of someone like Joe Mixon, who's gotten in trouble before. There have been players on Cincinnati who have found themselves in deep water and have gotten in trouble. That's the only thing I could possibly think of, because it just sounds like now, with all this information coming out, it sounds like they're trying to take advantage of this young man. And then on the other side, you have a very upset rookie who, quite frankly, I also think hasn't really proved anything either, who probably should just sign on the dotted line. But I understand the frustrations. I think both sides are at fault. I think the owner's being a little bit unfair, and I think the rookie, who hasn't played a down of NFL football yet, should probably just sign the contract and not get in any trouble.
I do understand the message that Brown is trying to send. Hey, if there are a lot of players year in and year out, Quinshon Judkins is one of them who just got arrested for battery down in Fort Lauderdale as the Browns rookie running back. I mean, there are guys who, a number of guys, a handful, count on one or two hands, who get arrested year in and year out for some crime. Whether they spend serious time in jail or not remains to be seen. But it sounds like owners are annoyed by the idea that, hey, there are still guarantees in this contract. I still owe this guy millions of dollars, and he has legal issues going on right now. Now, do I understand the message? Yes. Is it the wrong messenger? 100% absolutely. You cannot listen to the Bengals about trying to save a pretty penny and make it about the moral thing about this guy spending time in jail. This guy's being cheap. That's the bottom line. He's being cheap.
Well, he's being cheap because he's paying a quarterback and two wide receivers all of Midas's silver. They have to be cheap at this point. So that's where I think things are getting unfair. And then on the flip side of things, you have a player who is frustrated that he is the one that is getting the example set, right? He is the one that this is happening to for the first time. Will other teams try to do this in the future? We'll only have to wait and see. But he doesn't want to be the example. And maybe there is the fine print stuff. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this, but in the end of the day, Kyle, truly believe both sides are being petty. Yeah, the ownership's being petty, and then on the other side, the player, partner, it's easy to say don't get in trouble, but don't get in trouble, right? Don't do anything that's going to put you in jail for months.
Now, the thing about this language is you don't know from the agent perspective, what if he gets a speeding ticket and they have to book him? And he's going to be out the same day. It's not necessarily like a major infraction. Can they void money because of that?
No, I think the bigger conversation, too, is how much of a black mark on the paper or red pen on the paper is this for the organization like the Bengals? Are players maybe going to reconsider? You mentioned the agents. Are players or agents going to maybe reconsider doing business with the Bengals?
Oh my God! They hear Mike Brown, the owner of the Cincinnati Bengals, going, "Well, if this guy's going to spend time in jail, I don't want to pay him." He didn't say I shouldn't have to pay him. He said I don't want to pay him.
But at the same time, too, maybe let's give him a little bit of credit. They paid Chase top-tier money. He's the second highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. They're paying Joe Burrow a ton of money as well.
Yeah, but the problem is they got 3 Ferraris in a trailer park. That's all they got. They don't have
a mobile home.
That's it. They don't have the foundation that supports the sort of the engines, the exhaust that they have available to them. And that's where they're getting burned, is because now Trey Hendrickson, who is, walking off the campus essentially, and then you're going to have your first-round rookie maybe not even be available by the time you get into the thick of training camp. The
guy who's supposed to replace FAU legend Trey Hendrickson.
So that's the problem. So these guys, they got 3 Ferraris in a trailer home. And it's, whether you think the message is right or wrong, yeah, you're right. Players should not get arrested. It is not hard when you got the golden ticket of, you say it about Quinshon Judkins, who just got arrested for battery down in Fort Lauderdale.
And never had a history of getting in trouble.
Is it that hard to not get arrested and spend time in jail and have a court date when you got sort of the golden ticket of opportunities like playing in the National Football League? Is it that hard? Is it that hard? Probably not. But to the same token, wrong messenger. He might be one of the cheapest owners in the league in terms of guaranteed contracts. He decided to wait on the Jamar Chase deal. He honestly got burned because of it. They tried to deal with the franchise tagging with T. Higgins for year in and year out. He wanted out. The only one they played ball with was Burrow. And that was because he was the quarterback of the team, and they had to sort of let him write his own contract. But now you got the 3 guys you got so much money tied up in, and then you're going to the media. I don't know why an 89-year-old, whether it's mandatory or not, I don't know why he's answering like that. Why an 89-year-old is making decisions like, I know it's his money. 89-year-old making decisions like that in a national football team, that, to me, it should be problem number 1. Well, these guys are too old.
It's why you pay your general managers and your underlings. The only time an owner, in my opinion, should ever talk to the media is like when you make a firing. Like when you have to face the music of, hey, why did you get rid of this guy?
Right.
What's the direction of the franchise?
The reason you hired them is they deal with all that.
Right.
And let them do that.
And I understand, Jerry Jones is the king of kind of talk. He has a segment. He has a segment with a radio station down there in Dallas.
Well, he's good with them. He's good with the
Listen,
score in Dallas. I actually like that.
Unpopular opinion, I love Jerry Jones. I really do. I appreciate Jerry Jones. I like Jerry Jones. I know a lot of the.
He's good. He's always been good with the media.
Chris Canty, former player. You could hear him on Unsportsmanlike with Evan Cohen, Michelle Smallman. He's not. I'm not necessarily, at least what he says. It doesn't sound like he's a fan of Jerry Jones. But listen, who am I to tell Jerry Jones how to run what he does? Who am I? All right, Jerry Jones doesn't want to pay Micah Parsons, but guess what? He paid CeeDee Lamb and he paid Dak Prescott when everyone was on him. These deals get figured out. He ends up dishing out the money. Why are we so hard on Jerry Jones with the way he wants to spend his money? Now, the other owners, definitely the other owners when he signs these players, Colin, the standard gets set. I understand that more often than not. The owners can get upset with them. But me as a media member and someone who consumes football for entertainment, why the hell should I get mad at Jerry Jones for how he wants to handle how he operates business there in Dallas?
Yeah, but the way I look at it from both owners' perspectives is you can't sit on one side if you're Jerry Jones and say, well, he could get hurt tomorrow and then we still got to pay him all this guaranteed money. And that's a big concern of his. Well, why was that a concern with CeeDee Lamb? Was that a concern with Dak Prescott? Oh, it wasn't. Well, Dak Prescott gets hurt basically every other year.
Every year.
So, and it's not, you can't necessarily blame him, but he gets hurt every year. You didn't have those worries then. And same flip on the Bengals side. Now, all of a sudden, we want to hold on and guaranteed money on the actual formatting of the contracts, saying, hey, well, if he goes to jail, I don't want to pay him. Well, what about the 3? You think there's a no jail contract clause?
No jail clause?
In Jamar Chase's contract?
No.
No, there's not. Jamar Chase could spend a year in jail. He's still getting his money.
Yep.
So that's Joe Burrow could spend 2 years in jail. He's still getting his guaranteed money. It only comes up now. I understand the rookie has no leverage, but you can't pick and choose your battles and sort of lay on this hill of principle when you only decide to do it when you want to make a story out of it, and they're sort of benefits your end more so than the
when
player.
it comes to Jerry, I just at this point, I think he's trying to light a fire under Parsons. Maybe light a fire and light a fire under him to make him play up to. And listen, when we've seen him on the field, he does play up to the level, but make him consistently this season play up to the level of T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett. Now, Watt was hurt last year, but I think Jerry, his message to Parsons is, hey, find a way to get on the field this year and let's have some success, and we'll take care of you.
But that's the problem, because like what have the Cowboys' history has told them that, all right, I'm going to be protected. You had to wait to the last possible moment to get paid on the two previous guys who got big-time contracts from the Dallas Cowboys. You had to wait. CD was at the last second. Dak was at the last second. He's not going to get on the field. He's not going to get on the field because of the same reason that Jerry and Mike Brown are saying, if this guy gets hurt, goes down, something happens, he's still tied up for all that money. And on the player side of it, it's, well, if I get hurt or if something happens to me legally and I'm in a tough spot, I still want my guaranteed money.
I think Parsons is a player you take that chance on. Would you agree? Would you
At
pay
what
Parsons?
point does the principal draw its line, though?
Would you? So
you're going to sit on principle for what? You're not going to sit on it for Parsons.
So
you're going to be okay with it with Prescott, and you're not going to sit on it with Shamar Stewart, but you're going to be okay with it. And you're not even okay with it with Trey Hendrickson. But if Joe Burrow says to do it, you'll do it.
So you wouldn't. You don't want Jerry to pay Micah. Am I hearing you wrong here?
I'm just saying the principle in which these owners stand on in terms of these drawing. Let's take a listen to this Jerry Jones video. So Jerry Jones was talking about the prospect of paying Micah Parsons and brought up an interesting, I guess, comparison to what could possibly happen and how it would hurt him in the long run if they were to pay him. Take a listen to Jerry Jones earlier this week.
The other thing I would say is contracts are 4 or 5 years. Okay? There's a lot of water under the bridge if you step out there and do something in the first 2 or 3. You can get hit by a car. Seriously.
You get hit by a car any day of any day ever. So now, based on the principle that he's trying to illustrate there, you should never hand out 4 or 5 year contracts. How does that make sense when you've done that time and time again? So now we should do 2 or 3 year contracts just in case Micah Parsons gets struck by lightning walking down the street?
Is he tired of getting burned? I mean, that's the only thing I could defend Jerry for. I think Micah Parsons is a player you do give that kind. Let's put in perspective. The Dak contract looks bad because he can't get on the field and they haven't had success.
And they also waited so long to pay him, and he cost himself probably $30 million because he waited, and he's costing himself probably $30 million because he's waiting with Parsons.
Yeah, that's a Jerry problem. The costing, I don't think I think Jerry's got it, but in the end of the day, your pass rusher, your quarterback, star wide receiver. That seems like the positions that are getting paid in the NFL at this point, the Buco Bucks and the guaranteed money. It seems like when you have one of those star players on your team, you should bite the bullet and you should pay. Should you probably figure things out early on because it's going to be cheaper for your bottom line? Yes, but forgive me for thinking Jerry Jones at $30 million, an extra $30 million, is going to hurt his bottom line.
Well, you're talking about the salary cap, too. Now,
but that's what I mean. If other
owners, Cowboys want to get 3 Ferraris, and all of a sudden everything around them is going to turn into a trailer home, and that's what the Bengals are doing.
Right. But it comes down to drafting well, too. Jerry, not necessarily, I don't want to sit here and be too hard on Jerry, but the drafting hasn't been very, that good for the Cowboys in recent years.
It
hasn't been awful, hasn't been great, but it obviously hasn't turned into playoff wins, and that's what the Cowboys need. The Cowboys need playoff wins, and they need something to show the fan base that they're heading in the right direction. I think if you don't sign Micah Parsons, what does that tell your fan base, though? I understand Jerry doesn't want to get burned here with a long-term contract, but if you're unable to figure something out long-term and Parsons throws a fit, then you're going to get the fans to turn on you. And I still say the fans were happy when they signed Dak Prescott. The fans were happy when they signed CeeDee Lamb as well.
They probably still are happy.
That's what I mean. So, is this a move that you could afford the fan base not to do? Can you afford not to pay Micah Parsons? My answer is no. T.J. Watt got paid in Pittsburgh. Myles Garrett got paid in Cleveland.
And how are those two teams done?
But Garrett's played well. Watt, arguably, when he's on the field, is better than Garrett. And you're talking to a Brown fan over here. As a Brown fan, I was like, oh, my God, we're seriously going to get rid of Garrett?
But then you can make the argument that none of those teams, they're good. They're
a quarterback. Well, not the Browns, but I think Pittsburgh's a quarterback away. The Browns need to figure out the quarterback position. But Kyle, you need pass rushers like that. Those don't run on trees. And Myles Garrett's a number 1 pick. And fair play to the Pittsburgh Steelers for taking Watt when they did. They got an absolute deal in the late first round. Those pass rushers don't grow on trees. Those are damn near Hall of Famers. No,
I understand, but you're sitting here talking about the principle of, you need to pay the big receiver, big quarterback, and big pass rusher. Well, that sounds a whole lot like the Bengals, and the Bengals haven't worked out much at all either. The reason the Eagles are really good is because they draft really well. The reason the Chiefs are really good is because they have quarterback-friendly contracts and good guarantees, and they didn't pay the receiver. The reason that the Bills are really good is they don't put all their money into receivers. They put their money into defensive pieces, offensive line, and Josh Allen. That's the reason the Bills are really good.
So you're saying bad business by Jerry for the way that he's been spreading his money around to the Dax.
All I'm saying is that these owners should never do a press conference again. That's all I'm saying.
Well, Jerry sees a microphone.
Why is Mike Brown talking to the media? Truly. 89 years old, owner of the Cincinnati Bengals. What is he doing talking about contract negotiations with the media? Please.
He probably got tired of hearing it. That's my best guess is, his circles, his boys club, wherever.
Can he hear it? 89 years old? Like, truly, this guy's an
clearly.
idiot.
How something triggered him to say that. That was a Bush League.
They asked him about it.
It's a Bush League answer.
You shouldn't be. These guys should never talk. I don't understand why they're still talking to the media.
Well, he sounded high and mighty there. You know what I'm saying? He sounded like, hey, this is my money. Why should I have to pay him if he gets in trouble? Well, why are you assuming the young man is already in jail? He's not in jail yet, Mr. Brown.
But you can't also. You're right. It's a two-sided prong, because there are players that have major issues off the field, and it's a whole hoot. It's a whole hassle. Now that guaranteed contracts have become the norm to get out of these contracts.
You're more mad at Mr. Brown than Mr. Jones.
I don't hate.
Jerry is Jerry. He will never stop talking into a microphone.
I don't hate the message. I hate the messenger. The messenger on the Bengals side, he's a cheap owner who has been difficult to deal with, and those types of comments make every free agent in the NFL think, I do not want to play there, because they don't take care of guys who do well for them. Trey Hendrickson, prime example. They take care of Joe Burrow and the one or two people that Joe Burrow likes. And the rest, sort of free-for-all. And on the Cowboys side of things, you know that you are basically going to forego a training camp before you get extended. And that is going to be the bottom line. You are going to have to sit out or play on your toes until you get signed. And you could be an all-world player. And it'll happen at the last possible moment.
You'll get paid.
That's the bottom line with those two teams.
Get a ton of money.
Don't know how that's really terribly appealing to free agent players. Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Christian Cat, 888-760-3776. I'd be more than happy if owners never spoke to media again. You got to think if you're a Packer fan, you're pretty pleased. No traditional owner. Don't have to listen to this garbage. But Jerry Jones, Mike Brown sitting on their principles about, these guys can get hurt tomorrow. Well, it didn't bother you when you signed CD. Didn't bother you when you signed Dak. But now it's a problem when Micah's up next.
I quickly also think Jerry just likes to hear himself talk and to make some news waves.
Probably. But Mike Brown, 89 years old.
That was the situation. He just got fed up. He got tired of hearing from probably his buddies and the media, and he wanted to set the record straight, and it was terrible. It was a bad decision.
Can't blame the message. I really can't. But I can blame the messenger. Bad job there. Taking the time out here, Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Colin Russo here with ESPN West Palm. I'm going to try to have a heart-to-heart here. Hurricane season, summer temperatures, they've both officially arrived in South Florida, right? Well, John C. Cassidy Air Conditioning and Plumbing is making sure that you are protected. In order to ensure that your home stays cool during the summer storms, it's important to protect your AC unit from power surges. During hurricanes and large storms, turn off the power to your AC at the breaker. And before the storms arrive, consider having additional surge protection added to your AC unit. To help with your summer cooling needs, John C. Cassidy is offering $500 off new installs, and they have convenient financing options with monthly payments starting as low as $92. Visit CassidyAC.com for more information today. There's not going to be a second of cold for the next 3 months, so make sure you guys are protected. Time to check if your system needs to be checked or upgraded. Visit CassidyAC.com for more information today. Once again, John C. Cassidy Air Conditioning and Plumbing. In the thick of hurricane season and hot summer months in South Florida, don't be that person with a faulty AC. CassidyAC.com. John C. Cassidy Air Conditioning and Plumbing.
Hi, this is Scott Smith of Smith Ball, Baez, and Prather, Florida Injury Lawyers. I have said it many times before, and I will continue to say it for many years to come. There is never a good time for a car accident to occur. And most certainly, never ever a good time to suffer injuries in any type of an accident. The accident and its overall aftermath will usually cause pain, difficulty, and stress. Florida law allows accident victims to recover compensation for such losses, injuries, and damages. But such recovery is often not obtained easily and can require a lengthy fight with an insurance company. If you've been injured in an accident, call us now. Don't delay. The initial consultation is completely free of charge. The sooner you call us, the sooner we can put our experienced legal team to work for you. Don't hesitate or pause for another minute. Our experience, knowledge, and resources could be working for you just minutes after the call. If you've been injured, the lawyers at Smith Ball, Baez, and Prather will help. Call us at 500-HELP, 500-HELP. With Smith Ball, Baez, and Prather, help is just a phone call away. Offices Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie.
This is the Inter Miami save of the game.
Here is Hack. He delivers right side of the box, chested down. Rios Novo with a save on the near post as Don Core had a leak behind Falcone. Was able to put a shot on target with a right foot. Rios Novo equal to the task, leak to rebound.
Brought to you by PNC Bank. PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865. Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
You heard it, the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. You've been in a car accident, truck accident, suffered a slip and fall, fell off your bike. My friends Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine at Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. They're here to fight for you. I know with Anajar and Levine, they got my back. They could get yours too, and they don't even charge you unless you win. They work tirelessly to get you the maximum compensation that you deserve. Don't settle for just any attorney. Demand Anajar and Levine today, because that's the Anajar and Levine difference. All it takes, one phone call. Take back control of your life. Don't wait. Call for that free consultation today. That's 1-800-747-FREE. 1-800-747-3733. Take back control now with Anajar and Levine. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat, Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. Streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter /X at ESPN West Palm. And just now on ESPN, because it's Big Ten Media Day going on right now, so all these guys are giving you good stuff. Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti advocated for future college football playoff formats that are going to be heavy with automatic qualifiers. That is what the commissioner of the Big Ten had to say, that automatic qualifiers are the future of that college football playoff. Expansion is probably going to be on the horizon, and he wants Big Ten and SEC to be protected. How about that? So we're going to be looking at, probably, let's fast forward about a year or two in time. We're going to be looking at a college football playoff that is going to have 10 picks or 10 spots, maybe even 12 of the 16 already locked down before you even get into November. How about that?
Oh, love it. As a Big Ten fan,
No.
absolutely love it.
Waste of time. No. Incorrect. No.
Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State,
you can't
Michigan.
say this every year. You can't say that every year.
What do you mean can't say what every year, Kyle? What are you talking
You're
about?
just naming teams. They're going to be there every year. That's not going to be the case.
Kyle, if I'm following the dollars and following the NIL trail, those teams are going to be there. Teams are going to be there.
Would you have said the same thing about Alabama 2 years ago? No. Would you have said the same thing about Clemson 5 years ago?
Well, it's different.
What do you mean it's different? How is it different?
5 years ago, the NIL wasn't as rampant as it is. I don't even think it was a thing, but I understand what you're saying.
How about Tennessee last year versus this year? How about Texas A&M year in and year out?
So I think the Big Ten is just going to be, right now, the Big Ten with no Nick Saban in the SEC, and with the money that they're getting in from their NIL, I think the Big Ten is going to significantly separate themselves from the other conferences. With the Oregon money and the Nike guy.
What Tony Petitti's asking for is a 16-team format, has 4 automatic qualifier spots for the Big Ten and the SEC. And the proposed model has 2 automatic bids for both the ACC and the Big 12, one of the highest rated group of 6, and then 3 at large.
I'm fine with that. What's wrong with that?
I don't like the automatic qualifying.
For what? They're the 2 best conferences.
No, because conferences year in and year out change. Because there's better teams in certain conferences every year. And in certain years, ACC is going to have more than 2 teams that are worthy of a bid at some point or other. And they're going to get screwed because they don't have the automatic qualifiers.
Listen, as a college football fan, let's take my Big Ten mic out of it. As a college football fan,
this should be interesting.
I hope you're right. I hope that the ACC and the Big 12 are able to deliver consistently good teams. I don't see it happening.
You could have said the same thing about the Big Ten 3 years ago. Could have said the same thing about the Big Ten 3 years ago.
I don't know. Ohio State, it was always in it. The Penn State, say what you want about how they're phonies. They're consistently losing 1 or 2 games a year. They're consistently giving teams.
Never in the mix. Penn State was never in the mix.
Michigan is the team that was never in the mix until 2 years ago. My point is the conference
were there 4 SEC teams
Colin,
last year? Were there 4 SEC teams last year?
At least they thought that they deserved it with the 3 losses. Turns out it didn't.
That's my point. So that's exactly the point I'm trying to make. The SEC didn't deserve to have the 4 automatic qualifiers, yet
but those teams were comparatively better than any ACC or Big 12 team last year.
How'd they do in the bowl games? All those great SEC schools that got screwed out. How'd they do? They all lost. They were terrible. And they lost to teams that were so much worse than that, on paper at least. And you're talking about the paper and the dollars. Well, how about compare that? It's the same principle.
If you follow the money, it's the Big Ten and the SEC. And sadly, this sport is becoming pay to play.
You can't just talk about the money at this point. You got to talk about how different years there are different teams that are more deserving of getting in.
The SEC is a top 2 conference every single year within football.
There's no doubt.
Every single year within NCAA football.
And we'll find out
in the last 12 years.
They play the cupcake schedules, and they'll beat each other up during the regular season and let the committee decide who deserves to be in and who deserves to be out. I like that better than the automatic qualifiers. It adds a little drama. That is what college football is about.
And then you get stinkers like SMU in there who don't even pass the 50. And then you get stinkers like Boise State. Like that's
Boise State is getting in regardless. You're right. You want to get rid of the automatic qualifiers?
Oh, I want better teams.
You're pro automatic qualifier. Until we talk about Boise State. I want Boise State.
I want good teams in the college football playoff. With the automatic bids in the Big Ten and the SEC, there are better teams in the playoffs, so we're going to get better games.
I'll answer your question. There's 4 good teams. So you're talking about, let's get all these great teams. There's not 12 great teams, buddy. There's not. And you know that just as much as I do.
I do, but the matchups...
You're talking about fixing it. There's nothing to fix. There's not 12 great teams.
Kyle, the matchups will be better in that format. The games that we're watching as viewers and college football fans, in my opinion, will be better with the automatic bids.
And what tells you that? How did Tennessee do at Ohio State? That's a big-time team, big-time contracts, big-time money. How'd they do?
They had to go on the road in Columbus, Ohio, and pissed off Ohio State team. Who is clearly better than all the competition they played because they won by double-digit scores in 4 games against teams in the top 5.
Okay, and so that's why, because of that, there's usually the 2 or 3 great teams. Because of that, let every other team have an even Steven opportunity to get into the playoff. That's the bottom line. You're going to have 2 or 3 great teams, and the rest are just going to be a step below. It's bottom line. That's college football. Welcome to college football. It's been like that for 15 years. It's going to be like that for 15 more years. That's the case. Then let everybody else. I understand having a couple. You want to make it about getting the championships or the conference titles, fine. But making 4 straight automatic qualifiers, and I know Tony Petitti, the Big Ten commissioner, is just advocating for this at Big Ten Media Day. The fact that should be the norm, I think, is stupid. I think that is a waste of time because there was no guarantee that there were going to be 4 worthy Big Ten teams and 4 worthy SEC teams year in and year out. You want to make the assumption because they got money behind it? Fine. How much money was on Alabama last year? Did that help them when they lost to Vanderbilt? No. Did that help them when they lost to Oklahoma? No. So the fact that these teams have money pouring into them year in and year out, it doesn't always translate.
But then you had a team like South Carolina who is everybody's darling and wanted to make the playoff. And that played well at the end of the season.
Okay. Yeah.
And that would have gave them a chance to possibly go on a run in the college football playoff because you're getting 4 automatic bids. Partner, I see what you're saying. You're talking to somebody who year in and year out, when it was 4 teams, go, golly, are there even 4 good teams? I've come to terms that we're expanding this thing, and more teams are going to have an opportunity to compete with a national champion. I stepped back as a college football fan and said, all right, as long as I get good matchups, I'm okay with this. And
good
the reason,
good games, Mike, we didn't have good. We had 3 good games.
I think, but what I'm saying is, I think this. But what Petiti is mentioning, I think this tries to fix that.
It doesn't. It doesn't try to. They're not trying to fix that. You're thinking
with
they're
more
answering
Big
the wrong
Ten
problem.
and
they're not answering the problem of making good matchups. They're trying to protect the big conference. That's
because they're the best teams.
No, because they got the most money.
Dude, the SEC and the Big Ten comparatively over the last 5 years have had better teams than the ACC, the Big 12, and any other no-name conference. I'm fine with them getting 4 in.
The top-of-the-line teams are going to get in. I'm talking about 3 and 4 of the automatic qualifiers. Those teams, those are not the best teams, Mike. Those are the Illinois, Penn States are not the best teams. All right, the Ole Misses are not the best teams. All right, because there's more to the world than the Big Ten and the SEC. That's the bottom line. You should make it open season. If you're so good, let the committee make.
I don't think it is, Cal.
You don't think what is?
I don't think there's a world outside of the Big Ten and the SEC.
Oh, my God.
The ACC, the story, in my opinion, at ACC Media Day, the ACC needs that Clemson team to win something this year. They need them to go on a run and be good in the college football
the story
playoff.
out of the ACC is they're all pissed off because, they got SMU. That's fair. They got SMU.
They got thrashed by the Nittany Lions.
How did all the other teams do, Mike? How did every first-round game go? Please, I don't want to listen to that because it's not just SMU. All right, it's every other team as well.
I think a lot of it had to do with the format, with the bad games we saw. A lot of it had to do with the buys.
Who did we see in the national championship?
You saw Notre Dame and Ohio State.
Notre Dame. So
pretty good game.
Notre Dame in Big Ten?
They should be.
So not in the Big Ten. They're not in the SEC. But what are they?
Listen, that's the team that's making out like a bandit more than anybody is Notre Dame because they don't have to play a conference championship game.
The idea that can happen should aid itself to the fact that these automatic qualifiers are stupid. If you're under the impression that the SEC is so good, how did Alabama do in their bowl game last year against Michigan?
Well, listen.
How did South Carolina
Let me
do?
answer that. I'm with you. I'm the person who stood on this show with you and said it's a disgrace.
So
but
at
the end of the day,
if these teams are so great, then win your games.
Do you want to know what the SEC lovers say? The game meant nothing, and the kids didn't get up for the game.
I don't care about that.
I don't either. But
you're arguing both sides.
I'm not arguing both sides.
You are.
What I'm saying is, those fan bases and those teams believe if they are in the playoff, a different team shows up because the game actually means something.
Here's the bottom line. There's not going to be 16 great teams, so don't try to act like that there's 4 great teams in each conference that are worthy of the spot every single year without even seeing the rosters, without even letting them play the games. Even letting them play the games. You don't even see the team play, and you're talking about let's let them in the playoffs.
You don't think NIL and the money are going to have 4 consistent teams there within?
Take a look. Call FSU.
FSU's not one of the top 7 teams in the NIL, though.
Call Oklahoma. Call Arkansas. Call all these teams that have a war chest of NIL resources, and they can't do anything.
Top 7 teams in NIL this year are Big Ten.
Okay.
And then after that follows the SEC. What I'm saying is, Kyle,
the
4 teams, you're going to see 4 good teams out of these conferences, I think, year in and year out.
When's the last time we saw 4 great teams out of the Big Ten?
Last year.
Oh, okay. Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan? Or what is it, Penn State?
Dude, Indiana, Illinois.
Indiana, how'd they do in the playoffs?
They lost 1 game. You're the one who's telling me.
I know, but how'd they do in the playoffs?
But hang on, you're the one who's telling me you need teams like Indiana and SMU in these playoffs.
You can't sit around here and talk about, well, SMU got thrashed. Well, Indiana got thrashed. So, it's okay because Indiana's in the Big Ten, but since SMU's in the lousy ACC, we got to bash SMU, who played at Beaver Stadium, comparatively to Indiana, who got thrashed down the street at Notre Dame. So, how is it fair? You're talking about principle here. The ACC is lousy.
It's fair because the conference is better. The conference is comparatively better than the ACC.
You want to go game by game in Indiana's schedule? You want to go game by game? So that's my point. So you want to go game by game and to determine how great that team was?
Ohio
that team
State
deserved to get in because they put together the body of work to deserve getting in. They do not deserve to get in as a 9, because you're talking about just automatically letting in the South Carolina, Alabamas, and the Ole Misses of the world who didn't win the games they were supposed to win, and then we're still going to reward them. That is the problem. When you have a 10-2 team playing a big game at the end of the year, or a 9-2 team playing a big game at the end of the year in the SEC, they don't have to play well. They don't have to win a big game at the end of the year in order to still get in if they're in good standing in the conference. That is a problem. A lot of the times, though, those games, it does, to be a top 4 team in that SEC, it does come down to those games because they're so close and they're so even-keeled. That's the argument you guys were trying to make with me last year at the SEC when I was sitting on my Big Ten high horse, is that game in and game out, the Kentuckys of the world are going to give you a game. The Vanderbilt Commodores and the Missouri Tigers are comparatively better. And that's why those teams suffered. That's why it's good. That's why the committee did a good job there. The committee did a good job last year letting SMU and Indiana over the SEC teams because the SEC teams dropped bad games.
We suffered, though. As college football fans, we're the ones who suffered.
If Alabama would have been so great, they should have won their bowl game. So I'm not going to listen to that. And you can't sit here and say that would have been the case when they lost to a 7-5 Michigan team. So I can't listen to that. That's not true. You can't sit here and say that.
Listen, I agree with you, but the SEC honk that is listening is saying to us.
Don't talk for the SEC honk. Talk for you.
I'm trying to bring everything together and to comparatively look at this and to tell you why I like there are 4 good teams, I think, in the Big Ten and the SEC that are better than any of the 3 or 4 in the ACC.
And you can't make that determination without watching a game from any of these teams. That's the problem. You're trying to make determinations about where these teams are going to be without even watching a snap of either team, of any team. That's the problem. That's your problem.
Outside of Clemson.
You want to talk about, Andrew Barry doing, I'm going to make a connection here. Andrew Barry doing all this on a spreadsheet? That's exactly what you're doing. That's exactly what you're doing, and you can't say a word about it because it's all about the money and the dollar signs and the number attached to the team. That is all you are determined. It doesn't matter.
It's what it's turned into,
all right,
Kyle.
Sit on your principles for a second. You're sitting here talking about, the amount of money determines whether this team should get into the playoff or not.
Money, and recency bias. Who's won the championships in the recent years?
1,000 kids transfer a year. These coaches are jumping around. Who cares about recency bias?
It's been like 6-7 years since the ACC won a championship.
It doesn't. Clemson won 2 in 4 years.
Like 6 years ago, though.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Point is,
post-NIL, they've been bad.
What would you have said about the Big Ten before the Ohio State and Michigan won one? What would you have said then? That's my point.
Buckeyes in 14. You had a lot of other teams in the mix before that.
It doesn't matter. The point being is that the team this year will determine whether the team gets in. Isn't that a crazy concept? The team this year playing well determines whether they get into the playoff. Not because the teams last year with different players and different coaches and different situations play well, therefore the team next year should benefit off that.
You're not buying stock in the NIL and how much teams in these rosters
Don't generalize
spend.
it that much. Don't generalize it. I'm just trying to say I want to watch certain teams play and determine whether I think they are worthy enough for a playoff spot. It's about body of work. It's about eye test. It's about quality wins. It's about strength of schedule. It's about all of that. That is the beauty of it. And the subjectivity is why it's great. You want to make it objective? You can't, because all the schedules are different, all the matchups are different, all the situations are different. It's hard to be objective in that opinion. There is not enough metrics to measure it properly like college basketball. And I honestly think, does the committee get it wrong a lot? Yes. Do they have a bias attached to them? Absolutely. But do I think it's the right thing to sort of leave it up to chance instead of slotting in automatic qualifiers? You're damn right. You're damn right I do.
And then they got to hear for a year how terrible the games were. Because teams that got in and they got it wrong.
So now we're under the impression that Ole Miss would have walked into Notre Dame and dominated them after they lost their bowl game?
Probably would have been a better game.
You can't say that because they didn't win the games they should have.
Because they
didn't win the games they should have. Ask Alabama to beat Oklahoma and to beat Vanderbilt, and then Alabama can get into the dance. The fact that they didn't, the fact that SMU, and even with the loss to Clemson in the ACC title game, played important games and won the games they should have, that's why you get it. That's because they put together a body of work throughout the season, and that's why they get rewarded. Did they get destroyed? Yes, because it is lopsided to begin with. But you want to talk about putting 16 teams in? You're not putting 16 great, evenly matched teams. Not going to happen. Never going to happen. Make your peace with that. but it's about giving teams right opportunity to get into the playoff.
I hear you. But the 4-4-2-2 that you just told me, that it's trying to do what you said there. It's trying to give you the best teams year in and year out consistently.
It's not trying to do that.
Best conferences.
Best doing that would be leaving it up for chance and letting the ranking determine, other than maybe the 5 automatic qualifiers because of the conference champions.
Who in the ACC are you going to bat for outside of Clemson?
I haven't
this
watched
year?
any of these teams.
Who in
Mike?
the Big 12
That's
are you
the bottom
going to
line.
bat?
Isn't that a crazy
I don't think I have to watch these teams. I can make an educated guess that these ACC teams aren't going to be here.
This is where you're a hypocrite.
Why? They haven't done anything in 6 years,
You're attaching NIL and previous success to what the team is going to do
Colin,
next
they haven't done anything in 6 years.
Miami
lost to 2, poopers to not make it.
Watch
Cam
Clemson
Ward
be
to
great.
4,000 yards.
Mike. So now we're attaching number. All right, well, Miami wasn't great last year with a team where half of the offenses now in the NFL are undrafted. And we got a completely different quarterback coming in who has experience. But because they weren't great last year and because they had a bad loss to Syracuse last year, therefore, we don't think they should be good this year. That doesn't make any sense because Florida State would have been great last year if that was the case. And there's no correlation year in and year out in college sports. You should watch the teams year in and year out, game by game, throughout the season, and then determine who deserves to get in and who deserves to get out. You can't sit here July 22nd and make determinations about whether the NIL will adequately determine whether Miami will be pretty good or pretty bad. That is stupid. Leave the automatic qualifiers, leave it at home. Let the automatic qualifiers happen because you won a big game, not because you play in a big conference, and leave it at that. That would be my takeaway. You want to expand it? Stupid. Who watched that Final 12 last year and thought, boy, I would love more teams? Really? Nobody said that. Nobody said that.
BYU this year in the Big 12, partner?
Nobody said that. So you're talking about, you're giving everybody the best shot. Yeah, they're giving them a shot, but they're not giving the best teams year in and year out the best shot. The SEC might have a year where they have 5 great teams, 6 great teams. Then they're going to get screwed. Or the SEC might have a year where they have 2 great teams, and the Big 10 has 5. Or the Big 12, for some reason, has 4 great teams. Then what? They're going to take the 3 at-larges, and then the SEC and the Big 10 are going to say no? That's where you get burned. That's why you watch the games, determine who's better than who, watch the body of work, put together a resume, and then go from there. That is my thesis. That is my takeaway. The fact that we should not make determinations because of NIL and how much money is being poured into the team, because that is no correlation. Sure, some correlation on them being good, but it's all about coaching. It's all about coaching and players. There's a lot of teams that spend a lot of money.
Two conferences and maybe Clemson. There's the SEC and the Big 10 and maybe Clemson.
And without watching a game of college football.
Correct.
How about that? Genius Mike Rizzo. Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Christian Cat. The dumbest thing I ever heard. 888-760-3776. Tony Petitti, the Big Ten commissioner, wants automatic qualifiers, 4 for the ACC. 4 for the Big Ten, 4 for the SEC, 2 for the Big 12, 2 for the ACC, group of 6, only 3 at-larges. I think this is stupid. Mike thinks this is the best thing for the college football playoff. I think you should determine who is great by watching the games. Mike thinks let the conferences, they have their level of status. We want to know what you think. 888-760-3776. Pro automatic qualifier, anti-automatic qualifier. Taking a time out here. Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Calling all sports fans, grab your MVP card and head to Duffy's where you can catch all of the action. Not an MVP? Sign up for free and start earning rewards today. Duffy's is voted the best sports grill year after year with their award-winning burgers and wings. Don't forget about Duffy's famous 2-for-1 drinks all day, every day. And with over 80 TVs in every location, you'll never miss a minute of the game. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to learn more. Duffy's, our game is always on.
Kaiser University's flagship campus. The 100-acre residential campus at 2600 North Military Trail in West Palm Beach extends Kaiser University's educational offerings to over 100 degrees. Kaiser University also has an athletic program with 26 national championships, including back-to-back-to-back lacrosse titles, and they just won their first ever national championship for men's tennis. Visit KUCHawks.com for the latest on the championship flagship campus of Kaiser University.
I'm Mark Anajar. I'm Glenn Levine.
I'm Ellie Anajar.
Together, we're Anajar and Levine, and our team is a triple threat to big insurance companies.
Don't settle with the insurance companies for a fraction of what your case is worth. We'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve.
That's the Anajar and Levine difference. Get your free case review right now. We'll help you take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach.
Hey, Steph Prince here, General Manager of ESPN West Palm, to tell you about a team that has meant a lot to me and this community for a long time. Bob and the team at Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning have been helping me stay cool for years, whether at home or in the office. And living in South Florida with 3 kids, I don't know what I'd do without them. Family owned and operated, serving Royal Palm Beach and beyond since 1980. Let the knowledgeable and trained team at Bradley help you with your residential and commercial needs, installation, repair, seasonal maintenance, upgrades of all makes and styles and models of HVAC equipment, and so much more. Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning does things right the first time and makes the process smooth, stress-free, and most importantly, keeps you cool. Give them a call at 561-793-7497. That's 561-793-7497 or bradleyair.com. Any need, big or small, trust the amazing team at Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's Theo Dorsey, and I'm feeling hot, hot, hot. Temperatures are up, but your water shouldn't be full of mystery floaties. Culligan's got your back with water testing and reverse osmosis systems to keep things clean, cool, and crisp this summer. And get this, you can try it for just $10 a month. Stay cool, stay hydrated, and stop drinking who knows what. Visit Culligan.com today to schedule your free water test.
Hey, Culligan man!
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
We talk about having great matchups and enjoyable matchups. Indiana's Curt Cignetti at a Big Ten Media Day said he's, quote, adopting an SEC scheduling philosophy. Indiana's non-league games in the next couple of years, 2025, they got Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, Indiana State. 2026 is Colorado State, Western Kentucky. 2027 is Kennesaw State, Indiana State, and UMass. 2028, Eastern Michigan. 2029, Ball State, Eastern Illinois, Western Kentucky. So what Curt Cignetti is saying is, hey, we're going to get the automatic qualifier soon. All we got to do is win the games non-con, and then non-con is in non-conference. And then worry about our in-season schedule or in-conference schedule because we play 9 to the SEC's 8 league games. And then we'll get a red carpet into the playoff. And he won every game he should have last year. They lost to Ohio State, but they put together a resume good enough to get in. I stand by that. But that is a bad principle philosophy that more teams are going to start to adopt because everybody wants, Texas and Ohio State to play every year, and different teams. Well, the teams that can afford it can, but the mid-level teams, the teams that are going to be fighting for playoff spots year in and year out, they're not going to do this. They're not going to schedule these teams. Ole Miss is not going to do this. Ole Miss, future non-conference opponents, 2025, Georgia State, Tulane, Washington State, the Citadel, then Charlotte and Wofford the year after that, then Charlotte and Oregon State. So that's what we got from that perspective. The problem with the automatic qualifiers is you're allowing teams to do that. You're not even allowing. You're encouraging teams to schedule phony non-conference games that don't matter, that are just tune-up pay games for smaller market, smaller conference teams. That's what you take away, and then they're just going to worry about the in-conference schedule, which is fine. But the fact that it's uneven and it's based on team by team, and it's all going to be about getting to that point to where the automatic qualifier is okay in terms of total record, that's going to be it. That's the problem. That would be my takeaway, Mike. That would be my takeaway, is that you're just forcing teams to worry about only what they have to worry about and not trying to add a little spice and pizzazz to the other parts of the schedule.
We get big games, though. Like, a lot of these times, the bigger games between Texas and Ohio State, that was scheduled 5 years ago. The LSU and Clemson, that was scheduled years ago. And, we're always going to have these big games at the beginning of the year. Colin, I feel like these teams don't want to play each other right before the conference schedule begins. The conference schedule usually begins, September 27th, towards the end of September. If you want to get that big game on the schedule, it's got to be early on in the year.
And none of these teams are going to schedule these now,
correct,
other than non-conference rivalry games, because these games, winning these games, scheduling these games will make no difference to whether they get in or not.
You'll get the Alabama, the Texas, the teams that are consistently good scheduling the big games. But for you, to your point, you won't get the middling Ole Miss, Indiana's, Illinois to schedule big games because they're too afraid to lose those games because they're most likely going to lose to the juggernauts that are Ohio State, Oregon, whoever they have on their schedule.
The point is they see a red carpet route to get an automatic qualifying bid, whether or not they deserve it based on the non-conference schedule.
What Cignetti is alluding to is that the SEC has been doing it for years because the SEC feels like their level playing. Let's be honest. For a majority of the years with Nick Saban and Kirby Smart running the show, it was.
So there's more good teams in the SEC. Nobody's denying that.
But like Cignetti is alluding to, hey, we're just going to do what the SEC is doing, hide behind our schedule and sneak into the college football playoff because we're going to have 4 guaranteed teams. Is it the fairest thing ever? Probably not. What I say to the ACC and the Big 12 is to get better. I know it's tough love, but recency bias. But post Clemson, it hasn't been good. Post the Clemson run, it has not been good for these conferences. I wish I could sit here and sympathize with the ACC.
That's never going. So
I wish I could.
They do get better?
They're not a good conference right now.
What if they do get better? You cannot. Then they're screwed behind the 8 ball on a lackluster, put together, I guess, the concept.
Well, then you revisit it.
You don't revisit.
How
you will never revisit
it every year.
You will never revisit it because it's about conference money that goes in with the TV contracts. So the player who's a senior who is going to get screwed because his team is great just because they're making the public image of the Big 12 looking that much better. That guy is going to get screwed in favor of the guy 2 years down the line who has nothing to do with the program if they're playing in Colorado of all places. And that guy who is a senior who worked his tail off to get an opportunity there is going to get screwed by the automatic qualifiers to make the conference look better. And then all of a sudden, 2 years down the line, now we could revisit and give those teams a shot, a fair, even shot because they look better.
You know the money. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know the money side like you do of the contracts. And Colin, I feel like we're revisiting this every single year. Why won't we be able to revisit this
how you fix
once
this
you
whole
get
thing?
a couple of
But here's the problem. Understand what you're trying to say. You're not rewarding the team that is currently playing. You're rewarding the team that is currently playing by rewarding the team 2 years down the line. That's what you're talking about. You're talking about relying on the recency bias. Who cares about the recency bias?
Isn't that what happens? So we see it in the NFL with the rules that they make. And like in the NFL, remember Josh Allen and the overtime rules? You changed that. You thought that was wrong for Allen, and then you changed that.
Yeah, but this is
But
about
what I'm
getting
saying
teams
is,
into
Kyle,
the
you
playoff. It has
can't.
nothing to do with that.
Recency bias is everything, I feel like, in these sports. No? Recency
that has
bias
nothing to do with the NFL rules. The recency bias, you're talking about using your judgment on a team this year because of how they played 2 years ago when none of the current players were currently there. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't register in this landscape of college sports. We talk about how these teams get axed. There's 35 guys in the portal before you blink when the end of the season comes, and they got 100 new guys coming in year in and year out. These are not the same teams. So you can't judge it as such.
Recruiting, NIL, and coaching. That's what this sport is coming down to. It's coming down to coaching, recruiting, and money. And the issue with the ACC right now is they don't have any of that outside of Dabo Swinney. Outside of Dabo and Clemson, Colin, I don't see consistently how they're going to be able to put together the frame of work that it's going to take to compete at the top.
Mike, I can't believe you haven't even watched these teams. You haven't even watched SMU. You haven't even watched Syracuse. You haven't even watched Miami. You haven't even watched any of these teams. You cannot make determinations about it. That is the bottom line. That's where we're at. I'm surprised you're not on this.
The talent gap is too significant.
You haven't even seen the players.
Significant.
You haven't even seen
it's
the
too.
players.
I don't think I need to. It's too significant.
My God. Why do we play the games? Let's just start the playoff tomorrow. Mike knows what's going to happen. Let's just start it tomorrow. Let's start the playoff this weekend. We don't need this season. We got the NIL. The NIL. All right. Ohio State, you spend number 1, you're the 1 seed.
No.
All right, Alabama, you're the 2 seed because you spend the second most amount of money.
Did Ohio State stub their toe numerous times last year? Yes.
That is your philosophy. That is your idea.
The best roster ended up winning. The best rosters were there at the end, and you could argue it's been that way since the college football playoff era started.
Here's what I'm trying to say versus what you're trying to say. I'm trying to say that if a team is great this year, they should be rewarded this year. You're saying if a team is great this year, their conference should be rewarded in 3 years. That is what you were saying. I don't agree with that. I think it should be a year-by-year thing. You want to talk about running into problems?
They're getting 2 in, Kyle. They're getting 2 teams in.
All of a sudden, what happens when you get 4 in? What happens when there's 4 good teams that are worthy enough of the spot? You can't act like it's never going to happen, because it can happen. Because it wasn't supposed to happen with the Big Ten, and now it has. So because the Big Ten inherited 4 different teams. So wait till that happens. Just because you say it's never going to happen, never say never. You know how you fix all this? You don't have the automatic qualifiers. That's it. That's how you fix it. You want to talk about don't running into these issues? Well, I got an avoidable problem. Let's not do 4 automatic qualifiers, 8 total for 2 conferences. That would be my takeaway.
That's where all the money and the talent is. But I get it.
Do a little 5 and 5 loop in Christian Cat in the conversation on the flip side. It's Russo and Rizzo. Second hour coming up on ESPN 106.3.
The Club at Lost Lake, a championship Fazio design golf course in Hope Sound. Golf and social memberships are now available with no waiting list and immediate access. The course and club will see over $10 million in capital improvements and is one of the best private club values in the area. Experience the beauty and challenge of this renowned course for yourself. Enjoy year-round access to exclusive amenities and events. Elevate your game, elevate your experience. Discover the Club at Lost Lake. Visit clublostlake.com to schedule a visit today.
Anajar and Levine. Call 1-800-7473. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 106.3.
WESP Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
Hi, this is Scott Smith with Smith Ball Baez and Prather, Florida Injury Lawyers. We are a Florida civil trial law firm that specializes in the areas of personal injury and wrongful death. Our offices are located in Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie. Our lawyers have litigated thousands of matters at the Palm Beach, Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River County courthouses. Our lawyers, paralegals, and other numerous members of our legal team live in Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast cities and towns such as West Palm Beach, Port St. Lucie, Lake Worth, Palm Beach Gardens, Palm City, Jupiter, and others just like you and your families. We are a statewide recognized law firm, but it is your community and your families that we live and associate with on a daily basis. Our most satisfying achievement is when we know that our legal power has helped a fellow member of our Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast community secure a fair and just huge result. If you've been injured, the lawyers at Smith Ball Baez and Prather will help. Call us at 500-HELP, 500-HELP. With Smith Ball Baez and Prather, help is just a local phone call away. Offices Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie.
Business owners, are your employees driving you nuts? Is money tight? Or have you just poured your heart and soul into your business and now it's time to retire and just relax? At Trans World Business Advisors, they have buyers from all over the world ready to buy your business now. Call for a confidential conversation about your business's current value. 561-203-5121. That's 561-203-5121 or visit tworld.com today.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's DQ Grill and Chill's new Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard. This limited time treat combines DQ's signature soft serve, dyed blue of course, along with sugar cookie dough, cake batter flavor, and sprinkles. The Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard is available for a limited time only at DQ Grill and Chill with 2 locations, 4828 Lake Worth Road and US 1 just south of North Lake.
Get ready, South Florida. It's the 12th annual Boca Raton Bowl. Tuesday, December 23rd, 2 p.m. at FAU's Flagler Credit Union Stadium. Two of the best group of 5 teams go head-to-head in the ultimate holiday showdown. Over 150 players have gone from this field to the NFL. Who's next? Visit BocaRatonBowl.com for the latest, including when tickets will go on sale. The 12th annual Boca Raton Bowl, Tuesday, December 23rd, 2 p.m. at Flagler Credit Union Stadium.
Upgrade your learning experience during Dell Technologies Back to School event with AI PCs like the Dell 14 Plus featuring an Intel Core Ultra processor starting at $749.99. Supercharge your studies with features like real-time notes transcription, AI accelerated hardware to run multiple apps without slowing down, extended battery life, and more. That's the power of new AI PCs with Intel inside. Discover a smarter way to learn at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Adam Schefter here for Vivid Seats, your ultimate destination for all your sports and concert needs this summer. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every home run and thrilling comeback in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Visit VividSeats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Hey, Steph Prince here, General Manager of ESPN West Palm, to tell you about a team that has meant a lot to me and this community for a long time. Bob and the team at Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning have been helping me stay cool for years, whether at home or in the office. And living in South Florida with 3 kids, I don't know what I'd do without them. Family owned and operated, serving Royal Palm Beach and beyond since 1980. Let the knowledgeable and trained team at Bradley help you with your residential and commercial needs, installation, repair, seasonal maintenance, upgrades of all makes and styles and models of HVAC equipment, and so much more. Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning does things right the first time and makes the process smooth, stress-free, and most importantly, keeps you cool. Give them a call at 561-793-7497. That's 561-793-7497 or bradleyair.com. Any need, big or small, trust the amazing team at Bradley Heating and Air Conditioning.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
All into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Second hour, Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat. Streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X at ESPN West Palm. Christian Cat, our producer behind the glass in the City Place Studios. Having a great time here. If you missed any of the program today, go listen back. Russo and Rizzo, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, all those great places. Talking about greatness and whether, does recency bias determine whether you're a great team next year? One team you can say that for is the Kaiser Seahawks. Christian Cat?
Yeah, this Kaiser Seahawks football program is under a decade old, so recency bias is the only thing we have at play. And they won an NAIA national championship that went back to the game the year following, just last season. So you throw that out the window when it comes to Kaiser Seahawk athletics. They're all about championships, both on the field and in the classroom. 26, that is what your total is at. 26 national championships, including the men's tennis team winning their first ever NAIA title last season. And a lot of that due in part to having the AD of the year in the Sun Conference. And when you have the AD of the year in the Sun Conference, it makes it a little bit easier to have their 5th Sun Conference Commissioner's Cup that goes to the most successful athletic department in the conference. It's a championship. Kaiser Seahawk programs all across that flagship campus off I-95 and the Turnpike right off of South Military Trail. You make a right go northbound off of Okeechobee, and you see the best place to be. Get the latest of the championship Kaiser Seahawk athletic programs at KUSeahawks.com.
Christian, how are you today? You doing well?
Got 18 holes in earlier in the day.
Mike, did you play with him?
I did not.
You did not.
I did not. But Christian, be proud of me. When I was feeling better on Sunday, I went to the range again. So it's 2 range shifts and a round of 18 with Christian. I feel like the swing's coming a long way. And I told my dad, Christian, I need a practice round before we go out and play on Sunday. So
okay, is it a one-day tournament that you are competing in?
It's just one day, and Saturday I am going to go out with my old man, and we're gonna fix it. He's going to fix me.
And that's very good. I brought my girlfriend to the golf course today, and she just sat passenger while we cruised around. And it's always a kind of a dance in terms of trying to not have them make me pay for my own cart. Because if you are a threesome and you just have that extra seat sitting there, why should I have to pay for an extra private cart when I would have one anyway? You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I didn't have to pay today, so it made that trip even better.
Nice.
So listen, I love having my girlfriend there with me as I play golf. I'm sure everyone in a committed relationship would say the exact same thing. But if it costs $20, no, I don't want that.
Now, Chris,
I love my girlfriend. $20 is $20.
Now,
yeah, that's a deal breaker.
Christian, did you play well in front of her?
I played all right. The reason she wanted to be there today is because it was my first round with a brand new driver. And I piped that thing. Maybe the first 4 were perfect, dead straight down the middle.
Yes.
Slowed down a little bit in the middle and then brought it back on 16 and 18 when I pulled it out. I think I'm going to start becoming guy who puts driver cover back on after every swing and not take it off on hole 1 and leave it off until I pull in after 18.
Not with a new club, yeah.
Right, I feel like I got to show off. This baby is expensive.
Christian saw my Master Yoda head cover.
What were your thoughts on that?
You know, it fit the character.
Thank you.
My head cover that I have for this new club came with it. So make no mistake, like even though my head cover's on my driver, you're going to know a lot of money was spent on this driver because it says what exact club it is. So.
All right. Fair enough. Christian, Cat, Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo. Let's do a little 5 and 5 presented by Flagler Credit Union.
5 topics.
High five.
5 o'clock.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Let's get out of here.
Endless takes.
You can't handle the truth.
All gas, no brakes.
And it's shaking big time.
It's time for the 5 at 5.
Hold on to your butts.
Presented by Flagler Credit Union, proud supporter of FAU athletics. Earn up to $700 per year with boost checking from Flagler Credit Union. Number 1.
All right, time to stop the presses. We've got groundbreaking news out of Major League Baseball where an incredible amount of bias was just shown by the one man who is supposed to be the most unbiased in baseball. The commissioner, Rob Manfred, just described what he does when he gets home at night.
I watch a lot of baseball. I grew up a Yankee fan. I watch a lot of Yankee games still. I try to balance that off by equal time with the Mets because I live in New York. But most nights, I'm flipping between Yankee or Met and the extra innings package to follow what's going on in the rest of the league.
Am I the only one that think that's absurd to admit that you pretty much only watch full games of the Yankees and Mets? Because there's a reason why baseball fans might be more biased towards their region's teams because that's the only baseball they watch more often than not. Am I crazy here?
Yeah, I don't know where I stand on this. This is actually a tricky topic because you can't expect him to watch every team every day. You can't expect that. He doesn't need to be a super fan. He needs to protect the owners. That's what he needs. He's not the guy who's trying to break down every team from every league. But you're right. I don't know. It's a weird thing to admit that you strictly watch the New York teams when everybody's under the impression that the New York team and the LA team sort of get favored.
Yes.
In the sense
you
of
play right into it.
Yeah, from league offices. But I think that's a lot of the ways because of how the league is structured, not because of Rob Manfred's actual biases. But I understand your point. I don't know if I would have admitted it like that. Just say you watch a little bit of everything. You try to watch here and there. But he's being honest. If he lives in New York, the Yes Network's on, SNY. Like, you can watch that stuff. It's readily available. What, he's going to turn on the Reds game just because he feels like he has to?
I think if anyone gets a free MLB TV subscription, it's Rob Manfred. I'm not going to use convenience and cable.
Cablevision, SNY.
The correct answer, do you want me to what he should have said?
What?
I'm a New York Yankee fan, but I watch MLB big innings so I don't miss any big play that happens night in and night out. Big innings shows you all the big, hits, home runs, strikeouts,
I don't like
high leverage
watching
situation.
I don't like watching that.
You're dead wrong there, partner.
I like watching the full game. I like watching you don't get a feel for the full game.
Dead wrong.
It's like red zone.
Yeah,
There's no red
it's
zone
my favorite.
for baseball.
Yes, there is. Dude,
you don't get a feel for the game.
My buddies and I are obsessed with the big inning product.
I don't like that.
It's Guardians on. Well, you granted, Kyle, you only have one monitor at the Rizzo apartment. I wish I could say Rizzo Family Mansion, but I'm not Jonathan Zaslow yet. At the Rizzo apartment, we have 5 monitors. So Guardians main screen, haven't been there lately because I'm all pissed off about them. And then MLB big inning. Last thing here, Christian. He's a Yankee fan. Why the hell didn't he discipline the Astros then when they cheated?
Number 2.
What's that?
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought you were on our side.
What's that?
You're going to watch Yankees baseball every night and then sleep soundly at night knowing that Alex Bregman didn't get punished?
And suspend Joe Kelly for flipping the bird more than anyone on that team.
Number 2.
Shameful, Rob.
Let's stay in baseball because a very peculiar ending happened in the Red Sox-Phillies matchup. It was a walk-off, probably unlike one you've ever seen before. Take a listen.
Can you imagine? Oh, my goodness, there was.
After review, the call in the field is overturned. There is catcher's interference.
Wow! The Phillies have won on a catcher's interference.
Tag your bags.
Baseball is amazing.
It sure is. And it wasn't even a swing by the Red Sox batter. It was a check swing that clipped the laces by the Phillies batter, excuse me, that hit the laces of the Red Sox catcher.
It was interference.
It was. I agree with him.
It was interference.
Do you have any problem with the rule of catcher's interference, even though this did go by the law?
It went by the law, and it's happened, I think, only one other time in 1974. Out of one game, out of the 50,000 games we've seen, this is why baseball is cool, because games can end in 100 different ways.
Christian Navarez, was that the catcher for the Red Sox last night?
Navarez, yeah.
Navarez, sorry, I say the name wrong. God, how do you think he feels? First time since when?
Only 1974. It's only happened one other time in MLB history.
Poor guy.
Number 3.
Let's go to golf because our very own ESPN Radio's producer, Pat Costello, was talking about what he's over, a.k.a. what grinds his gears, a.k.a. what he's mad about. And he took aim to the golf patrons that were at Royal Portrush and that are at every single professional golf event.
Can we stop doing the stupid yelling, the backswings for these guys? I'm sitting there enjoying watching Scotty Scheffler dominate. He hits a tee shot and some morons behind him go, mashed potatoes! Just stop it. Like, we don't need that, man. Who is that for? I don't know why we do this. Every time it happens, it bugs me.
Do you dislike golf fans doing the once the ball's hit, mashed potatoes, give me back my son? Light the candle.
You got to be kind of a miserable person to hate that. Right?
I'm with Colin on this. I love it.
You got to be a miserable person.
My favorite is the Baba Booey.
I love the give me back my son.
Yes,
I love that one.
That's
that
great.
was my favorite one.
Dude,
from there will be blood. That's great.
Makes it fun. I mean, listen, if Pat Costello, our producer, listen, if he wants to be, the gatekeeper of that,
mute the television.
It's fine.
Mute the television.
I gatekeep. Christian, I like to gatekeep baseball to an extent, so, fine. If there's no place for that in golf, fine. I think, to be honest, golf could use a little bit of that. I think it could.
Mute the TV. You don't need the play-by-play every, on the back. You don't need that. Mute it when he takes his shot.
Give me the guy in Happy Gilmore had as Vern Lundquist described, I saw a guy earlier with the beer dispenser. A little more of that.
Number 4.
Let's go to a topic that hits close to home for Mike Rizzo. It was kicked around on Colin Cowherd's show, The Herd. Nick Saban returning to football on the sidelines and going to where?
If you look at the NIL, Nick Saban can't go back to college. He's not going to Bama. He's not going to any of these schools, Michigan. That if I was Cleveland and got the number 1 pick, I would draft Arch Manning. I would hire Nick Saban. Tell me if you ran a team in this league or owned it, you would not call 73-year-old Nick Saban. Would you hire him?
You sign the dotted line right here, right now, Mike.
So you know what the rumor is? Before I get into that answer quickly, the rumor is that Jimmy Haslam, the Browns owner, wants Arch Manning. He's going to do everything in his power to have Arch Manning be a Cleveland Brown. Now,
if that's true, that would mean tanking.
Correct. But look at the quarterback situation and look at their over-under win total with our good friends at Hard Rock Bet. Christian, 4.5. I mean, my God, 4.5. Number one, Arch Manning would have to come out. I brought this up to Colin earlier, and he agrees. Arch Manning has to come out. There's a chance Arch Manning might go back for his senior year. And there's no guarantees that he would even want to go to a dumpster fire like the Browns. Secondly, on the Nick Saban thing, dude, do you really think he wants to coach the Cleveland Browns and deal with the Haslam's as owners? Absolutely not.
No
He'd rather go back. If anything, if he's going to coach again, he's going to go back to college where he is running the show, getting a ton of money from his SEC car dealerships, and doing whatever the hell he wants. He doesn't want to deal with the Cleveland Browns. Listen, I love the Browns. I bleed brown and orange. It's my squad. But I'll put it this way. The Haslams make a lot of money for the city of Cleveland, and I heard they're pretty good people. They just don't know anything about what it takes to have a good football team on the field. I don't think Nick Saban would want to do that.
Gone are the days of having complete dominion over the kingdom if you are the head coach of an SEC college football team. But you have Ryan Kelly doing dance moves behind a recruit. These guys are now playing the players' rules, are they not?
But it's Saban, right? Listen, I said the same thing about Bill Belichick. Would his style of coaching be able to come through to a college player? It's different, though, because Saban has already done it, and he is the best coach, in my opinion, best coach in college football history.
And when he was in Miami in the mid-2000s, it didn't go too well. I mean, he was all right, but, why would you do it? Why would you damage the legacy? What? I don't get the sense that he has the itch to coach again.
To Kyle's point, he couldn't wait to go back to college.
Yeah, he is.
Couldn't wait.
He's not itching to do it. He sort of left his career on the highest of notes, especially that Alabama's not nearly as good without him.
He's comfy on game day.
Yeah.
You look comfy. I don't blame him. I want him on game day.
Number 4?
Number 5.
Sorry, I dropped the ball there. I was supposed to hit it.
That's okay. But did you see this? Tyler, the Creator, released a new music video for his song Stop Playing With Me. And who made a half-second appearance in said music video? LeBron James. If you are a Lakers fan, if you're a LeBron James fan, do you love it? Or do you not like it because it means LeBron James is more worried about off the court?
Do you know who Tyler, the Creator, is, Colin?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
he was in it for a half a second, truly.
Yeah, it was true. It actually was a half. It's where, the editing style of said music video is very quick cuts. It's almost like you're getting brainwashed.
They got LeBron there. You know, they could steal him before he went to lunch or something like that. And they're like, Bron, we need a quick shot with you. So they got a half-second look at LeBron James in this music video. I mean, they must be buddies. If I'm a Laker fan, it doesn't really matter to me. Now, all Laker fans are asking questions about what LeBron's going to do here. He's enjoying his offseason. He's not going to give you an answer. And I could see that the Chris Paul retirement tour, I don't know if it really is a retirement tour, I could see that deterring LeBron from being done after this year. I could see him doing another 2 years because of that.
Because they're buddies. Yeah,
they're buddies. And he might be waiting for his other son to go to the NBA as well.
Bryce.
So we'll see. But if I'm a Laker fan, I mean, it's very indifferent about that. I'd rather see DeAndre Ayton and Luka Doncic doing sprints up and down the court rather than LeBron's going to be ready.
June 7th, 2022. I asked a question to the both of you. Is LeBron James a Laker next season?
Yes.
Christian?
No.
I'm with you. I don't think he is either.
And where is he going to go?
Elsewhere.
Somewhere else.
He picked up his player option. Why did he pick up his player option if they're going to trade him?
Because he wants that $52 million wherever he goes next year.
He will get – LeBron could enter free agency tomorrow and get $55 million.
Kyle, remember what I told you about how maybe that new ownership group wanted to move on from Bron? They want to move on to life with Luka Doncic and post-LeBron. I think we're there, and I think LeBron wants to move on too.
LeBron wouldn't
he's
going to
come home to Cleveland.
Why would
Christian,
he pick up his player
ask me where he's going to go.
I think you just said it.
He's going to – Cavs will trade Darius Garland and a bunch of those softies that did nothing in the playoffs.
Why would he pick up his player option?
LeBron is going to get Mobley and Mitchell into playoff form. The Cavs are going to win the title.
Now, Colin, are you closing the door on LeBron finishing the upcoming NBA season with anywhere else outside of L.A.?
He's finishing his career in Los Angeles. That's my take.
Oh, just in general.
Well, I'll say to answer that quickly, Christian, he doesn't leave midseason. We've never seen LeBron leave a team midseason. I don't see that happening. It's either before the season or he plays the full year.
That's 5-5.
Well, I mean, at a certain point, why would you pick up a player option?
He wants $52 million.
He could get $52 million if he enters free agency.
You sure?
Yes.
It's a lot of money. What's it? Second most he's in the league he's making next year behind Gilgeous?
He would get $50 million. No problem. No problem. LeBron? Yes. He's the hottest ticket in the league. Yes. Any owner's paying that money. We're going to talk to Mike Tannenbaum, the ESPN NFL insider and the former general manager of the New York Jets on the flip side. Stick around for it. Mike T coming up on Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
Kaiser University's flagship campus. The 100-acre residential campus at 2600 North Military Trail in West Palm Beach extends Kaiser University's educational offerings to over 100 degrees. Kaiser University also has an athletic program with 26 national championships, including back-to-back-to-back lacrosse titles, and they just won their first ever national championship for men's tennis. Visit KUSeahawks.com for the latest on the championship flagship campus of Kaiser University.
I'm Ellie Anajar of Anajar and Levine. Injured in a car crash? Never rush to settle with insurance companies and never settle for just any attorney. Demand Anajar and Levine. Our experienced legal team will fight to win you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call me, Ellie Anajar, for a free consultation and take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
In office, West Palm Beach.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's DQ Grill and Chill's new Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard. This limited time treat combines DQ's signature soft serve, dyed blue, of course, along with sugar cookie dough, cake batter flavor, and sprinkles. The Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard is available for a limited time only at DQ Grill and Chill with 2 locations, 4828 Lake Worth Road and US 1, just south of North Lake.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Rolling on here on a Tuesday edition of Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3, July the 22nd, 2025. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat with us at the City Play Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. Welcoming a good friend of program. You can see him on Get Up nearly every morning, First Take, and a variety of different ESPN programming. He's the former general manager of the New York Jets. He's former executive vice president of football operations for the Dolphins. He's current ESPN NFL insider Mike Tannenbaum. Mike T, welcome in. How you doing today? What's going on?
Long time no talk, fellas. How you doing?
Great. A lot to talk about in terms of ownerships. I don't understand why these owners are doing the amount of press conferences that they do, number one, but I wanted to get your thoughts on a couple of different ones. Let's start with Mike Brown and the Cincinnati Bengals because Mike Brown went on the Shamar Stewart situation, who's the last first-round pick who hasn't been signed, and he goes, well, what if he's in jail? And I didn't understand why he would say this. I understand the message behind it, protections in the contract clauses, but as somebody who understands these clauses, can you shed some light on what both sides are really arguing for, and in your opinion, who's more in the right?
Yeah, great question. Look, I've dealt with this countless times in my career. There's a landing spot here, and basically what it has to do with when does off-the-field conduct impact guaranteed money, and how should those guarantees be voided? And if you get in a room, reasonable people could get a landing spot. Maybe it voids if you're found guilty. It's not just necessarily voiding if you're arrested. So those are things that will get worked out. I'd be surprised if in the next few days if Shamar Stewart isn't in camp. Those things come up from time to time, and I'm sure there's a very sensible solution.
Mike, why do this if you're the Bengals? Why try to do something that, and forgive me if I'm wrong on this, but like that nobody really has ever done before?
Yeah, I think it may be in some of their veteran contracts, so I'm sure they're thinking like if it's in Jamar Chase's contract or T. Higgins' contract, how can we not have it in a rookie's contract? And I think the juxtaposition of that, Mike, is, well, other first-rounders don't have it. So, again, I've been in these situations. You could wordsmith this thing and give both sides a chance to claim, victory.
Is it because of the agents, too, of these, I guess, rising rookies? Guaranteed contracts has become the new norm amongst rookies throughout the NFL. Is it more of the age? Is it how this works? Is it the agents that are banding together, trying to, I guess, have more of a grasp of the leverage that these rookies have in terms of getting what they want in these contract negotiations? Is it harder than ever to get these rookies under contract?
Kyle, I think what you're referring to is some of the second rounders now getting guaranteed deals.
Right.
That's just sort of like the natural progression in the marketplace. Most of the rookies don't have fully guaranteed deals, probably somewhere, halfway in the second round through the rest of the draft. So, agents are going to use leverage. Sometimes they work collaboratively with others. Sometimes they don't. But, the system basically works. The system was designed, guys, fundamentally, the cap's whatever, $280 million. Teams are going to spend to the cap. You just want the money to go to the players that earn it. And that rookie system was put in place as sort of hey, if you play well in the first 3 years, you're going to be justly rewarded. So most of these deals have been done. We're only talking about a very few that aren't. Shamar Stewart's very, very unique. And again, I think it'll get worked out in the coming days.
Mike, do you think Jerry Jones is going to pay Micah Parsons before that contract kind of expires there in Dallas?
Yeah, we talked a lot about that today. They're going to pay him. They just wait. And when you wait, be it on Zeke Elliott, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, you pay these massive premiums. So Nick Bosa was the highest paid non-quarterback a year ago at $34 million. That number has jumped up to $41 million. We saw Max Crosby sign, Donnell Hunter sign. Recently, we saw Myles Garrett and T.J. Watt sign. So by waiting, they're going to pay $7 million more a year, which just doesn't make any sense.
Another owner who's, I guess, going to the media talking about, well, what if he's hit by a bus? What if he's struck by lightning? I don't understand if that's the principle he's trying to argue here about 4 or 5 year contracts in terms of he hasn't been available, which is probably a decent argument. Then why would you still balk and give these guys the big contracts years down the line? Why even go to the media and talk like this? Is he doing this for leverage's sake or because Jerry Jones is a great showman?
I think Jerry Jones is Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Guys are going to get hurt. It's the system. The good news is you got great people who deserve the money. And I've been on the end of signing massive contracts. You take these big risks that you worry about, but again, that's just sort of indigenous to our sport. And if you're not comfortable, you shouldn't be in the NFL. It is what it is. When you have great players, they're going to get paid really well, and injury risk is part of the ecosystem.
Mike, is there that one big contract dispute, whether in the offseason, during the season, to you during your tenure as running these front offices, that pops out that's sort of reminiscent of what we're seeing these days?
Yeah, maybe the biggest one was, Darrelle Revis, and that bled into Hard Knocks. And, I just feel like when you're with a team, you're the point guard of information. You should be the chief question asker. You should be eliciting information, and then you try to find, a really good landing spot. That's really your job.
Mike Tannenbaum joining us now on Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. Mike, I saw on Get Up today, you're high on Jordan Love.
MVP, Mike, MVP.
I love love. I love love.
Wow. Unbelievable. So you're big on not only the Packers, but Jordan Love here. You think Jordan Love's going to take that next step? Is that going to be the best team in the division?
My favorite receiver in this year's draft was Matthew Golden. I thought his play speed matched his time speed. I thought he had great hands, great route runner. And that's what they needed. They needed a frontline guy. If you take away half a dozen throws, Jordan Love played really well last year. He got hurt in the opener, but I'm very bullish on his ability. I'm bullish on Matt LaFleur. I think they have a chance to have a really good year.
Mike, I'm falling in the bear trap in Ben Johnson for the second year in a row. What do you make of the Bears next year in that division? Can they maybe turn things around with Caleb Williams and give your Packers a run for their money?
I think they'll be better. He had 68 sacks. I think Caleb Williams, I think it's going to be bumpy. I think it's going to take him some time. I think he'll play well. I think he'll be better, but I think it's not going to happen overnight.
Mike, we appreciate it as always. We're looking forward to talking again pretty soon. And good stuff as always. Yeah, Mike?
Okay, thanks so much, guys.
You got it. Mike Tannenbaum, the ESPN NFL insider, the former general manager of the New York Jets, and the executive vice president of the Miami Dolphins. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, taking a time out here. We'll close out the program next on the Tuesday edition of the program. Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
ESPN 106.3 is your home for live sports presented by Hard Rock Bet, home of Inter Miami, Miami Heat, and the Miami Dolphins. Catch all the action and the biggest matchups throughout the week right here on ESPN 106.3. Hard Rock Bet, it's Florida's official sports book. Try Hard Rock Bet now and receive up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. It's offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida, must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida. Wager terms and conditions apply. Considered by gambling. Call 1-888-ADMITTED.
Progressive's Teen Driver discount could lower the cost of insurance for your teenager and save you some money. And then you can still spend money on them. Because just when you think you have a grasp on spending, new sneakers. And then it's money for a school field trip. And of course, spending money. Oh yeah, and a new phone to replace the one they dropped in the toilet. Oh, don't remind me. So just get Progressive's Teen Driver discount. And then you can continue to spend money on them. Endlessly. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discount not available in all states and subject to terms and conditions.
Oh, no.
Ah, that's the sound of someone who's misplaced
my debit card.
Their debit card.
Where'd I leave that thing?
Not at the gas pump, or the checkout counter, or the roof of your car. Now, if he has the Chase mobile app, he can use Card Lock.
Wait, I could just lock my card.
Yep, just a few tippy taps on his phone, and that sound? That's peace of mind from Chase.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Hi, I'm Scott Smith with Smith Ball Baez and Prather, Florida Injury Lawyers. As you have likely seen and heard, law firm advertising is at an all-time high. Attorney ads seem to be part of every radio and TV commercial segment. Some firms are even using paid actors and actresses to speak for them. At Smith Ball Baez and Prather, we know that the decision to hire a law firm should never be based on advertisements alone. It is our past results and many positive 5-star reviews that we encourage you to read at smithball.com to learn more about our law firm. We have board-certified lawyers. We have lawyers listed in the best lawyers in America and in super lawyers. But most importantly, we have experienced lawyers located right here in Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast that are ready to be your advocate and your voice, and fully prepared to start fighting for your legal rights today. Our purpose, legal power. Our mission, huge results. If you've been injured, the lawyers at Smith Ball Baez and Prather will help. Call us at 500-HELP, 500-HELP. With Smith Ball Baez and Prather, help is just a local phone call away. Offices Palm Beach Gardens, Boca Raton, and Port St. Lucie.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's DQ Grill and Chill's new Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard. This limited time treat combines DQ's signature soft serve, dyed blue, of course, along with sugar cookie dough, cake batter flavor, and sprinkles. The Superman Cake Batter Cookie Dough Blizzard is available for a limited time only at DQ Grill and Chill with 2 locations, 4828 Lake Worth Road and US 1, just south of North Lake.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got the Knox in the house, right? And I go by the name of Wyclef. I bought the band.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
You've been in a car accident, truck accident, fell off your bike, fell off a mountain. My friends Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine at Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys are the type to fight for you. They don't even charge you unless you win. They work tirelessly to get you the maximum compensation that you deserve. They're the best in the business. Don't settle for just any attorney. Demand Anajar and Levine today, because that's the Anajar and Levine difference. All it takes, one phone call, take back control of your life. Don't wait. Make that call today. Call 1-800-747-FREE. 1-800-747-3733. Take back control now with Anajar and Levine. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat, Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. On the MLB side of things, All-Star break is away and done with. We basically had our first series entering in the first week since that break that we had. And the Milwaukee Brewers being one of the biggest stories in Major League Baseball, sitting there at 60-40. 60-40, the best record in Major League. You got the Brewer fans sitting there, and there's a lot of them that I know from ESPN Milwaukee, one of our sister stations up there.
Your old roots.
All those guys who, I'll tell you this, who watch about 11 Brewer games a year are sitting there telling me how great the Brewers are when this is exactly what the Brewers are every single year. Yes, are they a little better at this point than they traditionally are? Yes. Are they like usually a high 80s win team and not 60-40 at through 100 games? Absolutely. But the Brewers have a bunch of good, not great players, right? And they got a bunch of good, not great pitchers. That is my look at it. Now, have I watched the entirety of their win streak? No, I was traveling, so I can't comment on the Dodgers series over the weekend because I was in South America. But from what I saw from them throughout the year, this is the Brewer team that is likely going to be looking for somebody to rely on offensively by the time it gets down to it in the playoffs. If anybody's really sitting there as a fan of an NL team, and if you're going to say the Brewers are the second most fearsome team in that league, comparatively, you're going to put the Dodgers number one. Let's not be stupid. Dodgers are going to be number one. If you're going to sit here and tell me that you're afraid of Milwaukee before you're afraid of Philadelphia or even Chicago or San Diego, you're lying to yourself.
If I could chime in quickly, they're not even the best team in their division.
The thing about the Cubs is, it's funny because they got counsel there. The Cubs got a better offense, and they don't have the pitching. Milwaukee's a little bit more well-rounded.
Well, they don't have the bullpen. I think the Cubbies have the starters with Imananga and Boyd and how well those guys have played.
The well-roundedness of the Brewers is why they're really good. They don't have the top-heavy talent that the Cubs have, and especially that high-scoring offense.
Woodruff has been unreal since he's been back. So I think first off,
Mizorowski's been a revelation.
Correct. Mizorowski's been great, but I think Woodruff is the one. Woodruff and Mizorowski were really the ones that had started this. Peralta's consistently great, who's striking out a K-per-9 guy his entire career. The guy that surprised me was Chad Patrick, the pitcher for the Brewers. But Colin McGill, Trevor McGill has, 23 saves this year? Uribe, Koenig, they're always, to your point, a pretty well-rounded team. What happens? When is the last time they won a playoff series? Serious question.
They are more.
Serious question.
It was, 2018 that they were in the NLCS against the Dodgers where they lost that series. They had that terrible series loss against the Mets last year.
8 years ago?
Well, I won't say that's the last one. That's just one that pops to mind when they made a run.
The recency bias with this team is they can't win a playoff game. And they win that division every single year because the likes of the Pirates and the Reds are usually bad. Now, Reds are better this year. The Cardinals and the Cubbies have been struggling in recent years. But the Brewers win that division, and then they strike out swinging, literally, in the playoffs year in and year out. You're licking your chops. If you're a team like the Mets, if you're a team like the Phillies, if you're a team like the Dodgers, or even the Giants and the Padres, who I know you're not quite buying it at this point, if you see Milwaukee on that first round, you're licking your chops. You're licking your shots. You know the drill.
They're a little coated like Tampa Bay, Oakland when they were good, Cleveland. They're coated like those teams. And they're coated like,
Give the Guards some credit. They win playoff series. God, this team doesn't win playoff series.
But they're in the NL. Keep that in mind. But yes, I understand. But they're a little bit more coated like the team that is very good in the regular season. And when you get to the postseason and you need big game players, Milwaukee is sort of looking around the room, who's going to be that guy for us, and they never have that.
They signed Yelich to be that guy. Injuries and for whatever reason, lack of discipline at the plate, I feel like have been that. And then they call him the guy's Churria. And
Churrio's a good player, but Churrio's 20. What are you going to rely on him and Mizorowski in a game against the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium? Really? That's the problem with Milwaukee, because Milwaukee's going to view this 11-game win streak, and let's see if they buy at the deadline. Let's see. You got 9 days. Let's see if they go get people. And if they do, they really tell you how serious they are about actually, making a run this year and capitalizing on this team. If they don't, which is a classic Milwaukee move, if they don't make a huge move, and they sit there and just thinking, all right, we're going to be okay, that's when that Milwaukee's going to be dead.
Never forget when they got rid of Hader when they were in a pennant race.
Right.
And then they completely bowed out of that. So there's no
they
guarantees.
had Williams sitting there as well.
But you get what I'm saying. There's no guarantee that they're not going to sell anybody either. My next question for you is about Mizorowski. Is he the next big pitcher in baseball?
Well, I mean, it's too early. He's we've seen him for a month and a half, but he
doesn't have that Skeens aura.
I can't make enough comments about that because he's only pitched for so long. But the thing about them is they've surprised people. They're having an unrelenting great season. There's no doubt about it. But if you're sitting there in the National League, you're afraid of Philly before you're afraid of Milwaukee. You're afraid of probably San Diego and Chicago because those teams are similar in terms of just that offense and how dangerous they are. And then you're afraid of the Dodgers. That's before you even get to Milwaukee.
To maybe, and listen, I agree with you. I think they got to prove it. They got to do it first until I start believing in it.
What tells me this is not classic Milwaukee?
Here's what I'll tell you. They got 4 pitchers in Woodruff, Peralta, Patrick, and Mizorowski that you could probably, now we'll see about Miz, to your credit. But those 4 guys, you think you could go to them and start. You need 3. What's the famous saying in the playoffs? You need 3 starting pitchers. They got 4. And then the likes of McGill, Uribe, and Koenig have been solid options in the pen as well. So you got 3 pen guys, Kyle. You got 4 starters. And you got a lineup with Rhys Hoskins, with Yelich, with Churio, and a bunch of guys like Sal Frelick could do everything. You hope that these guys get hot at the right time and they could go on a run. Pitching is the most important thing in my mind. But to your credit, too, you got to be able to get the bats across the plate. And that's always been the problem.
They've
and
always
that's
been able
the
to
problem.
Pitch. They always pitch.
But at the same time, I think there's something to be said about having 4 starting pitchers and 3 relievers that you could count on. Are you going to get the big? First off, is Yelich going to be healthy? I think that's important,
They don't have a single player with an 800 OPS. They don't have a single player.
Yelich, Churio, Hoskins, Contreras, Frelick. Is that good enough?
They don't have a single player who's hitting with an 800-plus OPS. That's the bottom line. They don't. That means they don't have a single above, I would say, closer to elite hitter on the team.
Yep.
They have a bunch of good hitters, not a bunch of great hitters. When has that been a recipe for total success? A bunch of good hitters. And you know what? Maybe that balance is going to serve them. But it means you got to get hot and you got to get lucky at the right time because they don't have a Bryce Harper to bail them out. They don't have, a Tatis to bail them out. They don't have elite big game players, Freddie Freeman's of the world. They don't have that. They don't have the Lindors. They don't have the Soto. That's what other teams in their league have.
Kyle, they need
even the Cubs have that.
They need Churio to be that guy.
Hey, what are you asking? He's a 23-year-old.
Right. Lindor did it. Lindor did it in 16.
Right, but you're a 23-year-old. What are you asking? That's a lot to ask out of a young player. You can't make declarations about how they're going to do in the postseason. But after an 11-game win streak, the fact that they're playing their best baseball now in July is exciting. For a Brewer fan, congratulations. But if I'm looking at that team and look at their statistics lined up against the rest of in terms of hitting and pitching, it is upper middle of the pack. That is classic Brewers. That is classic Milwaukee Brewers. They are an upper middle team in the Major League Baseball year in and year out, and they surprise people year in and year out. Would you take them in a playoff series? Absolutely not.
2, 3, 4, 5. Kyle, I got 5 teams here, and you're going to tell me yay or nay if you would take them over the Brewers in a playoff series. Philadelphia Phillies.
No.
The Mets.
Depends on how the Mets are playing. The Mets are always going to Met. Keep in mind, the Mets are always going to Met.
You
probably
hate
the Mets.
You hate the Mets.
I do. And they're playing terrible right now. So
I think good point. Correct thing is the Mets. Dodgers.
Yeah, of course.
And then the next 2, Padres and Cubs.
You're taking both of them.
I am too.
And maybe the Cubs might.
You're off the Cubs. I love the Cubs.
They might get bombed in a big spot, but
Cubs got bats.
But they're going to go make a move. They're going to make a couple moves. Classic Milwaukee move here would be to not make a move at the deadline, or at least a big one, to go acquire a big bat. They should be in the Eugenio Suarez sweepstakes, and they're not. They should go call for a decent bat that's available and try to uplift that offense a little bit. If they think that they're okay with what they're at right now, it is not going to last them in the postseason.
Michael Busch, Carson Kelly, Kyle Tucker, Pete Crow Armstrong, Seiya Suzuki, and Miguel Amaya all had that OPS stat, by the way, of over 800. They hit the crap out of the ball.
They hit the crap out of the ball.
Oh, my God,
dude. The Brewers, now,
that's why I like them, Kyle.
They got a bunch of 700 OPS guys, but they got a bunch of good hitters, no great hitters.
And Kyle Tucker is playing like an MVP this year. So, Colin, I love this Cub team. I think they make a move. I think they get bullpen arms. I think they can rely on guys like Shota and Matt Boyd come playoff time. Now, Pete Crow got hurt the other day. He's got a bruised knee. That's something to monitor. But if with a fully healthy Pete Crow and a hot Pete Crow like he's been all year in that starting nine, they're dangerous. I don't think anybody wants to see the Cubs come playoff time because of those bats.
They got a little Padres.
Anybody wants to see them.
They got a little Padres to them. But if I'm going to make a declaration about the Brewers, I'll say right now, until I see differently, that is the same Brewer team that you see. That's like the Oakland A's whenever they were good in the regular season. In a lot of ways, other than the year they made the World Series run, like the Tampa Bay Rays in a lot of regards. They surprise you in the regular season. They maximize, they squeeze the last ounce of just unrelenting, unbelievable wins in the regular season out. They do. They can squeeze that out. They've been doing this for years. And then when the postseason comes and it becomes a big game player's time and a big game offense and rotations time, that's where the Brewers start to struggle because they can't match offense with defense and offense with pitching. Or if they got the offense one game, then they don't have the pitching. They never put it together. They never put all three facets together. That's my problem with the Brewers. So I'm not ready to write home about them as the best team in baseball just because they're on an 11-game win streak.
When's the last time they went for a free agent too at the deadline? CC Sabathia back in 2010.
They definitely made moves in the
2000. But Kyle, a move that has substance. That's like, all right, they're going.
They're traditionally a good team, and they're traditionally more sellers than buyers. That's their problem. That's just the big market, small market mentality. And they got bad owners. What are they, the Atanazios? Yeah, they got bad owners. Bad owners. Cheap owners. So that would be my takeaway with them. Before ESPN Milwaukee wants to sit here and, shaping out the ring for their fingers, can we see them in a playoff spot rely on a big game player or a big game hitter to get him out of a tight spot?
My favorite is when you said they've watched the people who are saying that have watched about 6 games this year. Watched about 6 games this year.
And I'm not going to knock. Maybe they are watching every day now because they're on an 11-game win streak.
No. That doesn't count. That doesn't. You're
Ben Brust, host of KBN. Churio could be banging a drum in his backyard, and he wouldn't be able to pick him out of a lineup. Backyard. And I love Brust. It's my guy. Same guy who said 2 months ago, let's trade Churio.
Oh, God. No, he didn't. Did he?
I think he did.
Oh,
he did.
God.
He said something along the lines of, go capitalize on trading him for a big... Now he loves Churio. Oh, now Churio is great. The hit streak is great. Phony. Nonsense. Garbage.
Kyle, halfway point.
I like hating on the Wisconsin. hating on the Wisconsin.
For sure, as you should. Because
they're too optimistic.
Correct.
But it's the most optimistic bunch in the world.
Drives you nuts.
Oh, my God. Guys, let's think realistically for a second. The Wisconsin Badgers are going to win 4 games. The Green Bay Packers are going to lose in the postseason. The Milwaukee Bucks are going to stink. And the Milwaukee Brewers are going to do what the Brewers do every single year. They're going to lose in dramatic fashion.
I'll let them do that for the Packers because they're such a great organization.
Packers are great.
That's fine. I actually respect the Packers mightily. The Wisconsin stuff does my head. As an Ohio State guy.
Oh, my God, they don't shut up. They don't shut up.
Dude,
they don't shut up.
Do you want to know what we used to say at school? Wisconsin are the biggest batch of phonies that there possibly ever could be. On the basketball side and on the football side.
As the team. I agree with.
They had one run with Bo Ryan.
2 runs. Yes.
Can we pump the brakes? Okay.
Greg Gard made it to the second weekend just once in his career. He's been there for 9 years. And it was the year that Bo Ryan left the team in the middle of the year, Tony Bennett style. So Greg Gard.
And they haven't been relevant in football since Bielema left. They haven't been relevant in the football versus
year where they lost
to
Ohio State in that championship. They got killed. But it was a great team. It was a good team.
By 12 gauge.
Yeah, what were they, 13-1
Cleveland Natives.
They had a good year.
Cleveland Native.
They had a good year. Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Christian Katz saying goodbye. So you see you tomorrow, 4 to 6 p.m. Russo and Rizzo coming up tomorrow. See you then on ESPN 106.3.